Okay, so today I want to show you three essential must-know minor chord patterns, and I think they're really essential because they use essential minor 7 chord vocabulary. I mean, you've got to know the Dorian scale to play minor 7 chords effectively. You've got to know the minor 7 arpeggio even to the 9. And I really feel like you have to know the minor pentatonic scale, just the basic minor pentatonic. So I've got patterns, 3 patterns that incorporate each of these components of the vocabulary. Now, I'm going to show you all this in G minor, but I think it's really important that you have the information that you need to be able to take it through the different keys, because I'm a big proponent of practicing everything through the keys. So, after you check out the video, if you need the cheat sheet, I'll have a cheat sheet available. Just feel free to drop me an email, visit my website, beginningsax.com, and send me an email, and I'll be happy to send you the PDF that has everything written out that you'll need. Okay, so let's begin with just playing the Dorian scale. Now, the Dorian scale, in case you don't know, has a minor third and a minor 7. So you can see I've got the minus written below the 3 and below the 7. But as you play it, count the numbers in your head. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Play it up and down, play it until you've got it in your hands really well. Doesn't matter if you're playing alto or tenor or flute or guitar, whatever your instrument is, play that G minor, that G Dorian scale, and count it in your head. Learn the arpeggio, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Up and down. Now, pattern number 1 uses notes from the arpeggio and a scale tone. So it starts with the root, plays the second, a scale tone on root to the third. Now I'm going to think of that second as a scale tone here at the beginning of the pattern, 1, 2, 3, because we're playing 1, 2, 3, and then as you go up the pattern, you see I've got a triplet written, 3, 5, 7, targeting the 9. Now remember, the second and the 9 are the same tones, but when we're playing it in kind of a scalular situation, a linear kind of situation, a lot of times I'll think of it as a scale tone. In the arpeggio context, I'll think of it as the 9. So our pattern, 1, scale tone to the 3, 5, 7, 9. And then descend the same notes, 9, 7, 5, 3, scale tone towards the root. Now I'm going to play it up and down and probably a couple of times, 2 or 3 times. So my suggestion would be that we're going to start with the G minor sounds, the essential G minor patterns. Your first pattern is playing that particular pattern up and down until you got it in your hands really well. Now, pattern number 2 is the pattern I played at the beginning of the video, so take a listen to it and then I'll explain it. Pattern number 2 uses pattern number 1, the ascending portion of pattern number 1, to get to kind of the departure point for this particular pattern. So we're targeting the 9 on the G minor 7 chord, and remember, we'll go ahead and think of the 9 as just being part of the minor 7 chord. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, even the 11, but we're not using the 11 in this pattern, so we're just going to think 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So right up that arpeggio, targeting the 9. Remember, get your rhythm in place. And now this pattern uses 3-note groupings, 3-note descending groupings of arpeggio tones, 9, 7, 5, 7, 5, 3, 5, 3, 1, and 3, 1, 7, all from the Dorian scale. I've got the minus signs written in beside the notes, beside the minor 7 and the minor third, but still they're just right out of that Dorian scale, so they just kind of naturally occur. So we've got these 3-note descending groupings. We're going to head towards the next descending grouping using a scale tone. So our scale tone between the 5 taking us to the 7. The 7 is the beginning of our next descending group. So our first group, and we can call this a cell, 9, 7, 5 with an ascending scale tone. Now the scale tone is a scale tone right out of the Dorian scale. So if you know your Dorian scale, it's really the 6, but I like thinking of it as a scale tone because I really like to place the emphasis on these descending groupings of arpeggio tones, the 7, 5, 3, or I'm sorry, the 9, 7, 5, the 7, 5, 3, the 5, 3, 1, and the 1, 3, 7. So each one of those groupings is connected using a scale tone. 9, 7, 5, scale tone upward towards the 7, 5, 3, upward scale tone to the 5, 3, 1, upward scale tone to the 3, 1, 7, and then we'll bring it to the conclusion with the 2, 1, 7, 2, 1, kind of a diatonic enclosure. So listen to the whole pattern one more time. Man, I think that's just really a beautiful pattern. And again, learn it in this key and then take it to other keys. Now, our pattern number 3 is based on the minor pentatonic scales. So if you don't know about minor pentatonic scales, you might want to check out my lesson series called Relating the Pentatonics. It's in stage 2 of my jazz improvisation lesson series at beginningsax.com or on my subscription site. But a quick overview of the pentatonic scale: play your Dorian scale, count it in your head again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The minor pentatonic will use 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8 from the Dorian scale. And again, that'll give you the minor third and the minor 7 in that. So the Dorian scale, the minor pentatonic, 1, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8. You might even hear a little bit of a blues sound in there. Listen to it again. Now our pattern is going to use the descending minor pentatonic scale. So after you really kind of figure out the minor pentatonic, play it in descending format a few times. You hear the blues in that, I know. And our pattern is really going to be a stair-stepping kind of pattern again, and it's going to use 4-note groupings or 4-note cells that come right out of that minor pentatonic. But we want to start it again. I like tying these patterns together. So we're going to take pattern number 1 once again. We're going to start with pattern number 1. Now, rather than going to the 9, let's target the 8 at the end of the triplet. That's going to take us to the high note on our pentatonic scale, 8. And so I've got this pattern written out: 8, 7, 5, 8, 7, 5, 4, 7, 5. Gosh, you'll never learn it like that. I mean, I wanted to go ahead and write it out just because some folks really like to have all the analytics here. But really, the way you're going to learn it is you descend 3 notes from the minor pentatonic. Now, we could immediately go into these 4-note groupings. But I want to get us on the upbeat. I love this pattern when it's syncopated. So one way we can get to the upbeat with these 4-note cells is we can play a 3-note descending, the first 3 notes descending from that minor pentatonic scale, then go back to that top note again. So we're starting on G minor pentatonic on the G, F, D. We'll play those 3 notes, but then go immediately back to that G, and that'll put it on an upbeat or give it a syncopated position rhythmically. And then we play 4 descending minor pentatonic tones right out of that minor pentatonic scale. That's our first cell. Our next cell begins 1 note lower on the minor pentatonic scale. So rather than starting on G, this time we'll start on F. Our next cell begins one tone lower, so we've descended from the minor pentatonic starting with the G, starting with the F. Now we're going to start on the D and play 4 tones directly down that minor pentatonic scale. The next tone down would be C. The next tone down would be B flat. And there we've run pretty much a full octave with this minor pentatonic pattern, so we'll just go back to the third, the B flat, and complete it there. So the descending part of the minor pentatonic pattern, and I'm going to start with the first 4-note cell going down. Now, when I start at the very beginning with our portion of pattern 1 and kind of tie all this together, all of these ideas I've just walked you through, and that would be a great pattern to work through the keys. It can be used in many situations. So remember, if you want a copy of all this stuff written out, just and written through all 12 keys, so that you got everything available, just drop me an email. Go to beginningsax.com and drop me an email. And also, I hope you'll consider purchasing some of my lessons while you're there. I've got a lot of lessons, a lot of jazz improvisation and beginning sax lessons, and I also have a subscription site where you can subscribe by the month or annually if you'd like and save a few bucks, but by the month, and you can have access to all of my lessons. And, I was counting them up here recently, and I've got, around 300 lessons. I mean, I've got tons of lessons. I've been doing this for many years, and they're all based on practice techniques that I've worked out with students in my live studio. So I hope you'll consider that. Okay, take care for now. I'm Randy Hunter, and I hope to hear from you.